Right, folks, how we doing? Welcome back to the latest episode of the OPT Fitness Podcast. And tonight we have another guest with us, and it is Sam. Sam is from, I'm going to get the name wrong, so you maybe going to have to correct me here, the Johnstone Amateur Boxing Club.
Perfect. You got it in one. Got it
first time. Everybody out there knows just how terrible I am with names. So I'm proper proud of myself. I got it right.
No, you got it. You got it. Well done, mate.
So Sam is the head, or one of the head coaches alongside Kevin at the amateur boxing in Johnstone. Fantastic setup out there. Some great kids coming through apparently and everything else. That's it. That's all I know about it because I've not had time to do any proper catch up with Kevin or yourself, obviously. So we know this is your first podcast and you're a little bit of nerves and everything else, but you're a boxer. The nerves can't be that bad. Why don't you start off by telling everybody all about the Johnstone Amateur Boxing Club and what you've got coming up?
So the amateur club we started only 2 years ago. This is us coming into our third season. So we started in 2023. We've got quite a number of boxers on the go now. So we started off with maybe 10 or 12 boxers, if that, and now we're up at 26 boxers.
Fantastic.
Possibly 30, you know, you never all get them on in one day. So, and there's that many that you can't quite remember everybody either. So you're challenging yourself a wee bit trying to remember everybody. So I think we're roughly about 30 boxers. So we've came a long way in the space of 2 years. In terms of what we've got coming up, the next big thing is probably the development championships in October. And hopefully we'll have about 10 or 13 boxers in that. So that's for novice boxers. Excuse me.
Right, you're all good.
That's for novice boxers, people that are within 6 fight bracket.
Right.
So that seems to be the big thing that's coming up next. So it's all geared towards that. We've also got a wee fundraiser on the go next week. I don't know if Kevin's maybe mentioned it, but
once or twice, yeah.
Has he mentioned it? He's mentioned it to quite a few folk, to be fair. But that's on the 21st of September, so that's next Sunday. Next Sunday, and that's going to be a sparring day with all the amateur boxers. So hopefully get plenty of people in, raise plenty of funds for the club.
Fantastic. So if I'm right, on that day, we'll come back to everything else, but just on that day, because Kevin's banged on about it to anybody that'll listen, we might as well get it out of the way. That is Kevin, if I'm right, Kevin is sparring with 25 different people.
Well, if they're all in, yeah.
if they all show up. Okay, so he's just proved the fact that he is actually mental.
Yeah, he's crazy.
But
crazy.
Good luck to him. So that'll be a good night. So that is in the Four Corners Boxing.
Yeah. So the Four Corners gym,
in McDowell Street, Johnstone. What time does it kick off?
It's going to be a 12 o'clock start and hopefully be done by 4 o'clock.
12 till 4. Unless Kevin gets knocked out by one of the amateurs.
It depends how long a break he needs.
He's an old man now, isn't he?
He's still got it, by the way. I've been sparring with him. He's still got it, trust me.
I'm only saying he's an old man and needs a break because he's not in the room. If he was here, I wouldn't have even dreamt of that. I'm not that brave. Right. Okay. So that's the 21st in Four Corners Boxing, McDowell Street. Get along, support the cause. Absolutely brilliant place to be. They are a fabulous club. Okay. So back to the club itself then, and tell us a little bit about what do you actually do, you know, in terms of age ranges and ability, and how does it run?
So the amateurs is a wee bit different from the gym itself. It's kind of like it's its own thing, almost. The gym, as you know, it's got its own classes, so it'll have kids' classes. We've now started doing like development classes over the last year or so to hopefully try and develop the kids to get into the amateur boxing club.
Yep.
The amateurs it's like how would I describe it? You almost need to be picked to get into it.
Okay.
But that is part of the development process because you get so many people, and I've learned over the years with me being an amateur boxer and being in different clubs myself, it's you go in and there's somebody who's either unbelievable and there's somebody who can't even throw a punch. So it's then trying to get that balance of where should you be? Do you know, should you be in the amateurs, or should there be a development class, or should there just be a kids class? And then it's also a case that you get some folk as well that are maybe at that level where they're not quite ready to box. they maybe just try sparring, and then they get that first hit, and they go, oh,
not for me.
Maybe no, maybe I'll take a step back. So that's why we separate it a little bit. So in terms of the amateurs, that's kind of, you need to be at that level when you're already in it, sort of thing.
Okay. What age ranges do you do the amateurs from?
So that can be anything. That can be, you could be 9 years old, you could be 30 years old.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter. I think the cut-off limit's 40, but that is just the amateur boxing rules. You're not allowed to fight after 40. So, you could go from 9 to 39.
Good. Oh, that's brilliant. That's good. So, okay, like that then, if they come along, they show a bit of guile in the classes that the gym runs, they could be asked or encouraged to maybe, think about going into the amateur side of it. Yeah. It's not a case of, I rock up with Johnny and say, I want Johnny to be you'll say, let's see what he's got.
It's almost a selection process, trying to maybe have a look at, see who's keen. You've even got the adult boxing class as well. You know, you can look at them. That's for people that's over the age of 16. Somebody who's 17, 18, maybe just starting, but you can see that they're really interested. Take them out, give them the chance. See what they think of it.
Yeah, brilliant. That's fine. Okay, so you touched a little bit on yourself there, so we're going to find out a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
For those that don't know you, your career, for example. Let's start with that. So you've talked about being an amateur boxer.
Yeah.
What's that been like for you?
Well, I'm going back a few years now. So I stopped when I was 15. I'm 28 now, so I stopped a wee while ago. I went through a few wee phases between 15 to now where I was maybe going to get back into it, that sort of thing. So I started when I was 9 years old. I had my first fight at 10. And then, obviously, as I said, got to 15, and then that's when I stopped. Just got to a point, I lost a bit of interest in the actual fighting aspect of it. Anybody that's been involved in boxing knows you never really leave it fully. So I got to a point where, I want to go back into this. I think I was maybe, let's say 20. I was going to go into the pro scene. I was going to switch to professional. Spent a wee bit of time with Colin Belshaw, because that's, I owe a lot of credit to Colin for where I am just now.
Fantastic.
So that was the plan. I was training with him, sparring with guys like Cash Fruit and stuff like that, who's well known about the boxing scene. And then lockdown happened. And then, that wee bit of fire that I had in me, just decided, nah.
That's interesting. That's a shame. So it's funny because I think a lot of people just think you're boxing because you like fighting. The perception is only boys that want to go out and scrap in the street become boxers.
Yeah.
And it's good to hear from you saying, actually, do you know what? It's not necessarily about that at all.
Yeah.
It's about that. Do I want to get punched in the face again?
No.
Maybe.
When I think about it now, I couldn't think of anything worse. Generally, I watch people sparring, and then even the last couple of weeks, as I said, I was helping Kev out, and got me a cracker in my chest, and I'm like, oh, no wonder I chucked it, man. So you do get to stages where you're like, I understand why I started, and I love it, but I just don't know if it's for me to take the hit anymore. So that's ultimately how I ended up in the coaching role and start to pass on the knowledge a wee bit.
Good. And it's funny as well because you say anybody that's involved in boxing, you never really go. Because I know I'm a couple of times now I've said, right, I'm going to take part in some white collar stuff because I'm a couple of years over 40, so I'm not allowed to box anymore. I don't need to laugh that hard. The Sandman's laughing and everything. That's shocking. But I'm desperate to get back and go into the white collar. So we'll see.
That in the pipeline then, yeah.
Well, obviously, I don't know. You may follow the channel or not. I don't know.
Over the last week or so.
That's good. As long as it's only been the last week. So obviously, I had cancer last year.
Right.
Bowel cancer, and I've got a lot of complications from the surgery and everything else that I had. So, because my plan was always to take part in the November one,
right,
and to fight in this November card.
Just there, the one that's just
coming. But obviously, I couldn't get back in.
Yeah.
I'm still too much going on, and the way things are looking, I'll be probably going under the knife again. So I won't get the March one either, which is a shame. So, and then I've got to consider I'll be 54 by the time the month comes around in November next year.
Mm-hmm.
Is it time to hang up my gloves and say, that's it, I've had my last fight, I'm not getting back in?
Yeah.
But
doesn't leave you.
A little voice inside me saying, you'll be able to do it, just go for it.
It's in the back of your head all the time, innit?
It is.
Even though I've just said I couldn't think of anything worse. That's just when I'm watching boxers, but then I'm also going, I think I could still maybe. I definitely could, but you just, I'll leave it.
It's funny, obviously, I've been to a few of the training sessions and stuff like that, and done some recordings and things like that with them. And I do always get that little bit, I could probably get in the ring with them. I probably could get in the ring with them. And I just think to myself, shut up, you're an old man. Let it go. But it's so hard. It's almost like an addiction.
It is. It definitely is. I don't know where I'd be without boxing, and even now I don't know how long I can stay away from boxing. You know, I go a week holiday and I'm choking to get back to the gym. But that's just more because of the club. I want to see the boxers and I want to see them progressing. That's the only reason for that. Absolutely. To be fair, no me personally.
We're all the same, I think, when it comes to getting away from a gym for a week. I hate going on holiday for that very fact as well, but never mind. Back to you then, and so amateur boxing up until you were 15. How did you get to coaching then?
Well, it was actually an accident, to be honest.
Normally is.
It was actually an accident. So I started off as a gym instructor. So when I was 17, I went and got my qualifications to be gym instructor. A few years later, it followed on to be a personal trainer. So I got my level 2 and level 3. And as I said, I owe a lot to Colin for where I am just now, because it was Colin who managed to get me into his gym, where we're at just now, which is Four Corners. So back then it was Saltire Boxing, and I worked in Morrison's supermarkets, and I happened to just bump into Colin, and he said, "Do you want to help me take some kids classes?" And kind of went from there. I still wasn't an official coach then. It wasn't amateur boxing I was taking at that point. It was just probably the same as what I said, like the development classes, kids classes, to try and maybe push them on to that point. But then through like the one-to-one sessions, you know, obviously because I was known for my boxing, I got a lot of boxing clients. A few of those were younger kids who then ended up going into the amateurs. One of my clients, my first ever client, Finlay, he'll be happy he's got a mention there.
Shout out Finlay.
So he was my first ever client, and then he ended up going down the amateur route. And then I just got to a point where I was like, I'm still doing a lot on the side with him. I'd rather be the guy that's in the corner to try and take him through those fights and try and get him those gold medals, that sort of thing. So that was the happy accident. It was just from one of my clients.
Good. That's it. I mean, it is amazing though how many people get into becoming a coach or a trainer. Not so much a trainer, but a coach through accident. You know, loads of people go to school and become like PTs and you say gym instructors and stuff like that. But when you make that transition, because I do think there's a difference between being an instructor and a coach. Everybody I know, it happened by accident, including me. Mine was a complete fluke. I took my son to a multi-sports class. Right. And the first week there, the boy running it says to me, probably have to close this next week because there's not enough people helping out. My son left 6 weeks later, never went back. And that was, 12 years ago. I'm still there. And then like that, just somebody said, do you want to do this coaching course? Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, why not?
And all of a sudden you're like, hang on, how did I end up? I mean, one of the things that get for me is I detest running. I hate running. Yeah. I just can't think of anything worse in the world than running.
Same.
Why am I a qualified running coach now? But how did that happen? But it's weird. It's weird. But like that, I think most people I know never set out to say, I want to be a coach.
No, it was never in my head. Even when I boxed, when you box, you're not going to think, one day I'm going to have my own boxing club and be a head coach of a boxing club. It's quite surreal to think about it, you know. But I do definitely prefer that aspect of it, you know, being able to pass on what I've learned through the years, even through the gap that I had without boxing, where I wasn't actually competing. Being in the gym, you learn so much just in the gym, and then traveling to different clubs and stuff like that, and seeing how they do things and how you probably shouldn't do things. You pick up a lot from that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's good. Good. I enjoy it.
Great stuff. So you've got your level 2 instructor, level 3 PT. I'm assuming Boxing Scotland, at least 1 and 2, if not more.
So it's the competent coach.
Oh, right.
Competent coach. So they do have level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 1's just basically make sure you know how to throw a punch properly. But apparently you don't even need to go through that process. So I'm confident enough I know how to throw a punch properly and teach somebody how to throw a punch properly. The level 2 and level 3 interest me a little bit more, so it could be something that I do down the line. It's just trying to get the time to do it. So you having to cater to fights every weekend, you know, you're travelling the country quite a lot, so it is hard to pin a date where you go, right, let's go and do that course. But the level 2, I think you introduce how to deal with cuts and professional wraps. Again, I know how to do the professional wraps now, so it would just be a case of doing the cuts. And then the level 3, that is where you become a Boxing Scotland coach and you can travel to different countries with the Scotland squad. So I don't think I'll go quite that route unless I hopefully get somebody that's in that position. Hopefully somebody gets there.
Absolutely. The next big thing could come out of the Johnstone Amateur Boxing Club.
Hopefully more than one.
Have you got anybody that's in there you're thinking maybe is just a little bit special?
There's quite a few actually. I'm not trying to big the club up or anything like that, but we do have a few. Everybody knows this. Everybody that speaks to me, I always call this boy the prodigy, Tommy. He's had 12 fights. He's won 11 of them. He's won 2 gold medals along the way. And the boy that beat him, I think had over 30 fights or something, and that was only Tommy's 8th fight at that point.
Right.
And that boy had won everything. I would actually quite like to see that one again, the way Tommy's performing now. So Tommy's definitely got a bright future ahead of him, but he's at that tricky age, you know, 14 now. So this is where certain distractions kick in. But if you can get past them, fully confident. We've got good girls as well. Elle's one of our senior boxers. Her first fight was in the Scottish Championships as an amateur boxer, which is the biggest thing you can get in Scotland. That's not a bad way
to kick off your career, is it?
It's crazy to really think of it, and it was a straight final she got. So her first amateur boxing fight was in a final. Didn't get the result we hoped for, but wasn't far off getting the win. It was a split decision. So, but she's going well. Hopefully, right or wrong next year, and get that Scottish title for her next year.
Good.
You know, we've got a variety of younger boxers, senior boxers. Martin Kerr. I won the Scottish Championships with him back when I was with Renfrewshire as a coach. He's hoping to get that goal again, where he gets the gold at a lighter weight division this time. We've got a super heavyweight, Regan. He's definitely on the cuff of pulling something off as well.
That's my weight tag.
Super heavy. So Regan's really good as well. And then we've got Ross. Ross is 6-0 just now, and again, same as Tommy, he's won a couple of gold medals along the way. So if you've watched the podcast, guys, hopefully I've no missed you out.
They'll need to watch it now to see if they got their name put out there.
There's going to be a couple like that. He never mentioned me.
Well, you don't think I'm any good coach?
We've definitely got a couple of crackers in there. I've definitely missed a few, but I don't want to go on all day about who could be and who couldn't be.
Listen, I think it's brilliant that, you know, there are so many, and I think the difference between your club and a lot of others is it's not just guys that have never really been involved but became coaches and stuff like that. When you look at the talent in the Renfrewshire Boxing Club, it's amazing. It's the very fact that, you know, European weight champion He's one of the head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
He's not anymore the worldweight champion, but he was, and he had some fabulous fights. So the experience that he brings into the club, then you've got guys like you that have come through the ranks, and I think it is important that you've gone, you can see both sides of what was going through these kids' brains as they're coming through.
Yeah.
It's not just about saying, right, come on, fight, guys, fight.
Yeah.
There is that side of you that will see somebody and go, maybe he's on a turn.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's no longer in it.
Yeah.
Do we need to have a chat? Maybe pull him from something. Because I think that's something that people forget and don't do enough of. I think as a coach or as a trainer or as a PT, is saying to their clients, stop.
Yeah.
That we've reached a point where, I think we need to look at something here, not working, or is your heart still in it? And if your heart's not in it in boxing,
it's the worst place to be.
You're going in to get a kicking. Let's not get ourselves.
You'll get hurt.
Yeah?
You will get hurt badly. No, you're right. It is just a case of having to step back and analyse every person as they go by. I definitely went through it a lot when I boxed. I hit a point where you do just lose that love for it a wee bit. And thankfully I managed to get myself out at the right time, or I would have just kept going and got myself in some serious bother, I think. But you do look at these boxers coming through, and again, I learned a lot when I was with Renfrewshire. Obviously, get my own now. But me growing up boxing and having that surrounding with me, looking at other boxers as well, you can see when that turn.
Yeah.
You can see that switch when they do start to lose that bit of interest, or there's maybe distractions out with the gym. And it could be something daft. You can watch them coming in and go, he's not moving as quick tonight. He's not doing his wraps as quickly as he normally does. He left off a quick night. He's usually the last one to leave, or she's usually the last one to leave. So you can kind of see the signs. I've definitely went through it all myself, but you look at it and you go, right, let's have a chat.
Yeah.
Or it could just be a one-off.
Mm-hmm.
It could just be a one-off, but you analyse it for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and go, right, what's going on here? Because the last thing you want to do is put them into a fight if they've not got their mindset on what the task is, and it is fighting.
Absolutely. It's interesting as well, because I think all kids get a bit of pressure from parents normally. It's always the parents. Or you're great at that, keep doing it, keep in. Which is fine if they are playing football or something like that. They can go on and go, I'm just not going to. But if that's boxing and you're not in for it and you're only there because, you're getting pressure from parents or siblings or peer pressure to get back in that ring.
Yeah.
How do you get away from that? That's hard. That's really hard. As I say, as a footballer, somebody will, say, he's not pulling his weight today, pull him off, sub you. How do you get subbed in the middle of a boxing match?
No substitute.
That doesn't happen. You're going to get hurt, or worse.
Yeah. Well, you've got, again, as the coach, that's where you really need to step up. And like you say, the parents are the kind of pushing point. That is the ones that seem to mainly. The hardest part of coaching is parents sometimes.
I would 100% agree with that.
That is definitely the hardest part of coaching, is dealing with the parents. Luckily enough, the parents that I've got have full trust in what I'm doing and what my team's doing. So it's not actually as hard with us. But when I was with Renfrewshire, you definitely got a lot of backlash for parents and stuff like that. But we've set up a group chat. I just try and let everybody know exactly what's happening, when it's happening, why it's happening. That's ultimately what they like. If they've got answers, there's nothing for them to grumble about.
Right.
But there is always going to be those one or two who just kind of start shying away from it and don't want to box anymore, as we were just talking about. And then the parents will try and keep them going. But again, that's up to me as a coach to go, no, let's sit down and chat.
Yeah.
And if your boy or your girl says, I don't want to do this anymore, don't do it.
Absolutely.
Because it's your child at risk, Your child at risk at that point.
It's hard being a parent and seeing what you believe to be talent being wasted, by saying, I don't want to do it anymore. And especially when they get to that little bit older and you know, as a parent, you're saying, is it the distractions? You know, is it, oh, we've got a new girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, or there are pals going out and drinking now, and you know, they want to go out, or the party's starting, you know.
And that's what it tends to be,
well,
times out of 10.
Absolutely, and you've got to say, where are their mindset in this? You know, is this something they're in it for me, or they're in it for them? So it's hard being a parent as well, because obviously I am a parent. I've had kids that I've pushed to do things. I hope not too hard. I'm pretty sure he'll tell me I did push him too hard. But I also think I like to think I've, you know, with my kids have said to me, enough. I went, fair enough. Let's not bother then.
Yeah. That's the best way to be.
It's hard as a parent. It's hard to say, okay, I believe you don't want to go on anymore, and it's not just because, you know, your girlfriend or boyfriend has said, can we go to this party next weekend? You know? But hey.
I know, because I know my mum and dad weren't too happy when I stopped boxing. I just got to that. But like I said, it was just a choice I made, and it wasn't for any of those reasons. I think I was the exception. You know, I didn't go out and drink or anything like that, but I just lost interest. But in terms of the parents aspect, I know my mum and dad weren't best pleased when I chucked it.
It's weird. It's really hard. It's really hard. But I think it's interesting. So on the parent side of things, now obviously I've coached football, I've coached boxing, I've coached all sorts of things. Do you allow parents in during the coaching sessions?
No.
That's so much easier.
No. Again, as I was saying, I learned a lot of what to do and what not to do through my years of boxing and the clubs that I've been in. And parents is a no-go for me. Again, like I said, the parents that I've got, thankfully, they have so much trust in me and they're very supportive of how we do things. But again, I think it's just because they know exactly what we're doing and when it's happening, why it's happening. So they're quite happy to just give me full control. But that was the first thing I said when we started the club. No parents. Absolutely no parents, because you're always going to get that parent that's never thrown a punch that knows more than you about boxing. You know?
Don't I know it? Believe me, it's so difficult when you're there as a coach and the parents are involved. Luckily for me, when we were doing I don't coach children anymore, thank God, because I just think it's the hardest job in the world. So I take my hat off to anybody that's prepared to do it. When it was football, though, because obviously you're outside on a park, you couldn't get rid of the parents. They were lined up against the fence, and you're trying to coach somebody, and they're shouting, "Oh, Jimmy, do this! Make sure you run up and down." And I'm like, I'm not asked. I don't want him to run anywhere. I want him to stand where he is. Shut up, you know. And then you're saying to the parents, "Listen, can you let me coach?" You know, or do you remember you paid me to teach him? If you want to teach him, stop paying me. You know, you maniacs. But luckily now, as I say, I don't do children anymore. Thank God, it's just adults. And if they bring children with them to my classes, because I allow people to bring classes that are 12 and above.
Yeah.
And I'm like to them quite clear. They're your responsibility. You're going to teach them. You're going to train them, not me.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with any of that stuff anymore.
That's not what you want anymore,
That's it. But it's like that. You know, I loved it for a while.
Yeah.
And then it went, if I wanted
time.
Absolutely. If I wanted a hard job, I'd go and work in a building site or something. You know?
Well, that was the same as me. I started off doing kids classes, obviously, when I met Colin. That was the first thing I done. I did the 6-year-olds to the 9-year-olds class, and then I did the 10 to 15-year-olds class. I now do none of those classes. And that's planned.
It's almost like serving your apprenticeship, isn't it? See, once you've done it, you're never going back. Absolutely not.
Definitely not.
Mental. But there we go. Great stuff. Okay. So, the club's doing really well. You've got some great talent possibly coming through. What are your personal plans then for your future development?
For me personally, I just want to try and be the best coach I can be, you know. I don't really have much plans in terms of myself. I just want my boxers to do well, you know, whether that's inside the ring or outside the ring. Hopefully they get all the success in the world in boxing. Hopefully I can take them that way. I like to think I can help them out with if they need it. But in terms of me, I don't really have any plans to be honest. It's just going to be coaching for me, and that's it. That's the only thing I can see just now. Maybe down the line, I still feel quite new to it. I've done it for maybe 5 years or so that is still relatively new in terms of coaching. And I think I'm still one of the youngest coaches about as well, especially head coach. I think I might actually be the youngest head coach. I don't know, but I want to do maybe another couple of years and then possibly go down the professional route.
Yep.
And hopefully I can develop some boxers into that where they become professionals. And again, that's what ties me into the professional game. Hopefully.
Fantastic. Well, you never know. This time, 5 years from now, you could be stood on Sky Sports, but walking your man into the ring and saying, "This boy I brought up from the amateurs."
Never say never. Never say never.
You never know what's going to happen to you. You know.
Well, we'll keep it small just now. I just want to try and a Scottish title. That's what I want under my belt just now for one of my boxers.
Yeah.
Like I said, you've got Elle, who's in with a good shout. She almost got it last year. She could potentially get it this year. Right. Martin might potentially get it. He's going down to the lighter weight. He's won it before, but again, that wasn't with my club. He's now switched over, so I want a Scottish title under Johnstone JABC. Right. You've got Finlay as well. Finlay's a cracking boxer. He's got a chance as well. So that's the main goal for me personally, is to try and get one of my boxers to a Scottish title.
Absolutely. That's fabulous. Great stuff. Okay. All righty. So I think the only other thing I want to talk to you really about boxing about is white collar boxing. Okay. So a lot of people have quite strong views on white collar boxing, especially those that are involved in the amateur and professional scene. And I'm going to be a bit of a devil's advocate here. All right. And the argument of young boxers that could be amateurs or and then potentially professionals being taken away and going and doing white collar. How does that sit with you?
As long as the person knows that is a potential route for them, do they know that the amateur route's an option, or do they only see the white collar as an option? I've no interest in white collar myself, but I'm not against it, because boxing is the goal, or the goal of boxing should be get people off the streets that maybe need it, or whether that's kids, to give them somewhere to go, or even adults who maybe struggle with mental health, because you find a lot of that in boxing as people that come in have mental health issues. So as long as we're getting people off the streets and doing something stupid and getting them training, getting them exercising, whether they do the white collar route or whether it goes the amateur route, it's the same result. You've just got a better path going down the amateur route in terms of future careers. You know what I mean? That could lead you down the pro route. There's nothing saying white collar can't take you there either, but it's just not my preference. I just prefer amateurs. Yeah. That's my preference.
That's fine. I mean, obviously, because I am now too old to be an amateur.
Yeah.
I would have to, if I want to step back in the ring, it's got to be on a white collar card. Yeah. What do you think about that, though? Seriously, and please be honest, guys of my age standing in the ring when obviously boxing Scotland and everybody else is saying 40, that's it.
No, go for it. Go for it. I mean, if you want to do it, I mean, that's another good thing about white collar is you've got that option of, if I still want to do it, I can do it. And I've known a lot of amateur boxers who never pursued professional that's ended up going back to white collar. And white collar is a good thing. I've actually found a few white collar boxers who've switched to amateurs. So it works both ways for folk. But I also see white collar as a good thing for people that's maybe not, how do I say this without sounding cheeky? It's a fine line between levels, so there may be the people that aren't quite good enough to be an amateur boxer, where white collar's the perfect route, or as you said, you've passed that age bracket of 40, where do you go for then? And you're not going to pursue that professional route. So if you love boxing, why stop somebody from doing it? But it's the same as when you lose the interest, you need to be all in.
Mm-hmm.
That's my problem with white collar, is a lot of people don't really realise what they're signing up for,
Mm-hmm.
and they think they can just go in, hit the bag once, and then they can win a fight.
Yep.
No, you can't. And if you can, you're a very, very lucky person. That's my only problem with it. Amateurs and professionals, it's a very different discipline.
Yeah.
And I think that's the coaching aspect that sets that discipline. It's a lifestyle. You need to live that lifestyle to have the success. Whereas white collar, there's nobody really pushing you. And with white collar, what are you trying to achieve? That's my only thing. But like I said, it's good for people who maybe aren't at that level or don't have another option. No?
Oh, that's great. I mean, I understand what you mean as well by it's a different level of dedication.
Yeah.
And if you want to be an amateur boxer, it's not a sport, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to be a white collar boxer, well, as you know, and there are some terrible white collar boxing camps, but there's some fabulous ones as well. But even, I've said this loads of times on camera, and I'm not just saying it because I like the guy, but Ross runs the 4CBX experience, which I think is hands down the best white collar boxing I've ever seen. It's the best setup and everything else. But even that, it's 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's I need to be dedicated for 8 weeks if I want to take it seriously. Whereas if I want to be an amateur, it's 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I think that's the difference in it, as well as do I have the ability.
Yeah, what Ross does is absolutely brilliant, because I think we've got about 4 boxers who's participated on his 4CBX who's then made the transition to an amateur boxer.
Good.
So the fact that he's been able to do that as well, it is good. Again, that is one of the benefits of white collar. I'd maybe not have found these people if it wasn't for Ross doing his 4CBX. But that's a separate entity. But, again, it's giving people a mindset, a goal. Like you say, it is only 8 weeks, but at least they know how to maybe look after themselves after that 8 weeks.
Yeah.
You can get folk who have no idea.
Oh no, I've seen
absolutely no idea.
White collar setups that honestly I wouldn't invite my worst enemy to go and take part in, because you're thinking I walked in and I watched one, and I thought the level of training they must have gone through must have been so poor. Like they couldn't even keep their hands up to defend themselves properly. They had no idea, about space and pushing people away and even moving. It was right. I'm stood in this spot and I'm just going to throw punches. However, it wasn't even. Didn't even look like they were trying to aim a punch. And then we just saying, right, just have you had any kind of sparring? Have you been punched in the face? I saw one fight, and it literally the boy was, he looked fantastic. He looked like a boxer.
Yeah.
He get in the ring, looked like a boxer, jumped up, got punched in the face, and then basically ran around the ring the rest of the time. And I'm thinking, is that the first time somebody's punched you in the face? Because it looks like it.
Or the gear, no idea.
Aye, absolutely. It was bizarre. But no, that's cool. Okay. What we're going to do now is maybe let's have a chat about things in the fitness industry as a whole, not necessarily just boxing. Things that get on your nerves. What annoys you about fitness industry or boxing or people involved in it?
Fitness industry. Well, tends to be for me the influencers that really bug me there. Yeah. Everybody wants to be something or no. I like to think myself as a person, what you see is what you get. Whereas you'll get somebody that's on social media, like Instagram or TikTok, they put on this persona, and then it's just like you meet them and it's a completely different person. Like we were talking about with the amateur boxers or the professionals, it's a lifestyle. They kind of kid on, they live a lifestyle that they don't actually, and then next minute you meet them on a night out and they're out their face or something. So that seems to be my big thing. I think fitness is flying now. I think it seems to be the thing to get into, and everybody's again with the influencers. They're not exactly doing the wrong thing. I mean, they're influencing people to get into fitness, so it's no bad. It's just the way they live it. That bugs me, man. That really bugs me, the way they come across.
I must admit, the influencer thing, I did a podcast recently, and it was even calling them influencers doesn't mind nothing.
Aye. Is there no?
Well, they shouldn't be.
No.
You know, but clearly they are, because people are watching and people are following. People are worse than that. People actually believe some of the nonsense that comes out of their mouth. You know, and again, it seems that it's round every couple of years. This whole, if you do this exercise, you'll lose weight in your belly. Nonsense. They got, I mean, and there must have been about 10 different influencers on TikTok last week saying exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Have you got any kind of training at all? Because where's that coming from?
I know.
That's the most outdated idea I've ever heard in my life.
It's generally just for views, isn't it? It's views and interest. And then you'll get people that don't have a clue that are maybe desperate and go, I'll try that. You know?
I'll do that exercise, and then the 17 hamburgers that I'm going to have afterwards from McDonald's, they're going to be fine because I've done that exercise. We're all good. I don't get it. Honestly, it's insane.
Have you ever seen Eddie Abu?
No.
Abu? He seems to be really good. I quite like him, but
I need to look him up.
He got to a point that his obsession's eggs. Everybody just eats eggs. And it's just this or that. But he goes to supermarkets and he's like looking at products going, oh, don't eat this. I'm not going to swear on the podcast, but crap and all that sort of stuff. He's actually quite funny. Again, he's one of the people you maybe don't agree everything with, but he's definitely a lot more genuine than a lot of people that you get on Instagram and TikTok.
I'd love it. Yeah, TikTok influencer.
Thankfully, I don't have TikTok. Thankfully, I don't have that.
Unfortunately, I do. But I'd like to think that what you see on TikTok on the podcast is what you get in the street from me.
Yeah.
I'd like to think so, and I'm willing to fight and argue with anybody about how they're being stupid, and listening to things and following things and commenting on other folk that you know what, keep your mouth shut. It's got nothing to do with you. That's my big thing at the moment. Is people that have never walked in that person's shoes talking about them and saying, you know, I did a podcast that actually came out today on what should your PT look like, you know, and there's a current theme going around again. It comes around every so often where if you're going to be a PT, you need to have like 7% body fat, you know, you need to be 70 odd kilos, ripped, and why?
Yeah, exactly, why?
You know, do they have the 30 years of knowledge that I've got? No, they don't. You know, I am a big boy because I was a strongman. You know, what 70 kilo strongman, you know, is going to be able to lift 300 Ks, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, and who am I coaching? I'm not coaching 21-year-old boys that want to look, you know, like they're ripped. I'm coaching 50-year-old women who don't care what I look like. You know, they care about, can this guy help me be fit and healthy and live and be mobile when I'm 70? Which is far more important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. I know it depends on what you're training for as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Like you say, the strongman stuff, like, as much as I'm a personal trainer, I've not got a clue about strongman stuff because I've never done it, you know. So again, like, most strongmen, they're not going to be shredded. Like, if you watch like the world's strongest man, how many of them are shredded?
One of them at the moment. I think that's it.
Who's that? Big Beyonce or something?
Did you see? Talking of Beyonce, we need to talk about him. He needs credit for 510.
Was it 510? Was it
510? And it was easy. It looked like he had, I don't know. And on the night they were saying 525. He could have pulled. Personally, I think he could have gone higher than that. I think he could have done 530 easy.
So was that when did it get recorded by like actual officials and stuff like that?
That's the second one he's done now, because he did 505 about 4 weeks. That's the other thing. 4 weeks ago he pulled 505.
He's added 5
in competition
4 weeks.
And done 510. So the ability to recover is phenomenal when you consider Eddie Hall. And Eddie Hall was quite honest about it, and he said he did the 500 in competition and then spent 3 weeks flat on his back, because it just nearly killed him.
Floored him.
Whereas Bjornsson's done that 5.5, 4 weeks later, done 5.10, and then competed in the rest of the strongman competition and won the competition. The man's inhuman. He's inhuman.
He took a wee spell in boxing as well, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, him and Eddie had a
Eddie
fight.
Hall, it was Eddie Hall. That was a terrible fight.
I'm glad you said that before me. But I remember watching that thinking, right, these two have got plenty of money. They've hired great trainers, and the boys that were involved in it were really high quality trainers. Mm-hmm. And it was possibly the worst fight I think I've ever seen in my life. It was shocking. I think I'd rather watch two kids in the street have a fight than that again. It was so bad.
It's terrible. But then again, that's why boxing's not for everybody.
Clearly not for those two. And I'm glad that was it. I'm glad they called it a day after that and got back into what they should be doing.
Exactly.
Okay. If you hadn't been into boxing, what would you have been into? Because you don't strike me as being a sort of guy that was not going to be into sport of some sort.
Well, I did all sorts of sports when I was younger. I did football, wasn't very good at that. I was only good at taking people out the game. So that didn't last too long. I think my dad always wanted me to try and get into football because he was quite a good footballer.
Right.
But then just wasn't for me. Basketball. But as I got older, I didn't grow much. So basketball was out the window. Too small for rugby, but I had my hand at that as well.
Yeah. See, you could have been a fly half or a
never
scrum
know,
half.
Never know.
Sorted.
I also did kung fu as well. I did kung fu when I was younger, but I don't really think there's anything you can pursue in kung fu, is there? And then
I'm sure the Olympic champions may disagree with you, but you know,
out with that. There's not much I don't think. But boxing, I started boxing when I was 9. I did kung fu at the same time. So they kind of tied in with each other, but honestly, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't really tell you. I think it's just because I've done it that long now. I don't have an answer for that one. Because I'm not a handyman either, so I wouldn't exactly be a tradesman. I've always said there's only 3 good things I'm good at, in fighting, training people to fight, and getting people fit. And that's it. That's generally the 3 things I'm good at in life.
That's it. I don't even know if I'm good at those 3 things, to be fair. But, anybody can feel free to disagree with me anytime they want. Thanks, guys. There we are. Never mind. Anyway, yeah. No, that's interesting. That's good. I'm glad you obviously found boxing early enough that you realised that's you. You're going to be involved in boxing. Obviously, you're good at what you do. Because Johnstone Amateur Boxing Club is doing really well. You're producing talent, female and male talent, and it's unusual to see as much female talent coming through. So and it's something you can now do as a career for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
You don't have to hit 55 and retire or whatever. You can be a trainer at amateur level or go on to be professional, and there's good money to be made. There's a good wage if you want it.
The professional route is what I wanted to do eventually, as I said already. But money-wise, I'm not really caring about money. I just want, I wouldn't switch to professional, and you do get pro coaches who will just take somebody who's moved from England because they want a new coach. I wouldn't really look at it that way. One of the reasons I actually started Johnstone Amateur Boxing Club was because I wanted somebody for grassroots.
Right.
I wanted somebody who's maybe never thrown a punch before, and then try and take them to that stage where they win a Scottish title as an amateur, and then maybe look to turn professional. And I think that's why I started calling Tommy the Prodigy, because I found him the week that I was starting the amateurs, and he'd only been in the gym for a week, and now he's went and won 11 fights out of 12 and won 2 gold medals, and hopefully he'll win the junior Scottish title this year. Hopefully. But we'll see. We'll see. But like I said, we've got the girls coming through as well. We've got Alana and Naomi as well, who are only 15, and they're shaping up really well.
Right.
Like you say, it's quite rare to actually get girls in boxing, so we're lucky enough to have 3, and they've all got potential to maybe do something with it as well. So hopefully they can go that way as well.
Maybe get a few of these kids onto the Scotland squad.
Hopefully, and then I'll need to think about the level 3 course.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, I did the level 1
right.
a few years ago now, and
the course.
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's one of the reasons I never went through that. I was like, I got the course explained to me, and I was like, I could teach you that course.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, it's funny because I'd done the Ricky Hatton stuff before that, and I got more from the Ricky Hatton stuff than I did from the level 1.
Fun fact: Ricky Hatton's the reason I started boxing.
Is he?
First fight I ever watched was him and Costas Yu.
Oh, fantastic! That was a fight.
That was a cracking fight. I just remember my dad shouting me in to watch it, and then Ricky Hatton was my favourite fighter since.
There you go.
So he's the guy that got me going.
Right. Best thing about Ricky Hatton?
Body shot, left hook to the body.
See, now, anybody that says they like Ricky Hatton that doesn't respond that way doesn't know what they're talking about.
Left hook to the body.
I try to tell the people in my boxing classes, if there's one punch you can master, left hook to the body. Every time. That's a winner. Every time. And Ricky Hatton was the absolute master.
Yeah, I loved the way he just set it up, the wee uppercut through the middle, and then just to bring the guard up, and then that wee sneaky left hook into the ribs.
He was brilliant.
Absolutely so good. So good.
I honestly, I'm so glad you said that. The amount of people I said, and they're like, really? And I'm like, I'm telling you, you want to watch anybody deliver a left hook?
Yeah,
that's your man. To the body. He is your man.
Oh, he's spot on.
Phenomenal.
Miguel Cotto as well. I don't know if you ever remember him, Miguel Cotto. He was Puerto Rican. He was well renowned for his left hook to the body as well. So he's a close second favourite. Stylistically, I'll always say Cotto's my favourite.
Right.
But I've got to go with Ricky Hatton for the guy that got me into it, you know.
Absolutely. Plus he's British.
I know. Hopefully I get a wee trip. I would like to actually take the amateurs through to his gym one day and do that as a wee session, because that's something I'm looking at trying to do quite a lot, is taking the amateurs to different places. In July just there we went to Murcia in Spain for a sparring camp. Took 8 boxers with us, so looking to try and do things like that every year if we can. Obviously if the funding's good enough we'll make it happen. So Ricky Hatton's gym might be on the pipeline. That's mere selfish on my part. I'm just hoping he's there that day.
Brilliant. I think he does a lot of that kind of stuff now himself, because I'd noticed, obviously he'd let, I think, the business be the business for a while, but I'm pretty sure I've seen a lot of the stuff now where he's actually back, much more active in it, taking part, and he's trimmed down a lot because he'd let himself not be the Ricky Hatton we all used to see on the telly. And nothing wrong with being big. I'm never going to tell anybody they shouldn't be big. But as far as I'm aware, he's much more active, taking part, so he's there a lot more often now. And doing, I think he's done a couple of what's it called? It'll come back to me. The top level advanced boxing camps in London as well, because there was one recently that I was going to go to. I've already got the certificate. I've already got that training, but it'd be great to have him as your trainer.
I would just love to meet him. Wow. I would just love to meet the guy that started it for me. And he does do a lot. I've seen that. I follow him on Instagram, so I see a lot of the stuff that he's posting. I know his son Campbell got into it.
Yep.
Obviously didn't follow in his father's footsteps in terms of potential, but I think he's got, I don't know if it's his nephew as well, Jack Hatton, but he seems to be doing really well as an amateur. I don't know if that's his nephew or if that's another son. I'm not too sure.
I'm actually not sure, but I know there's another Hatton doing the rounds.
Yeah.
And I actually wasn't sure, if I'm honest, if it was just the same name. I didn't even know if it was. But
I know his brother's got his gym as well, and Magic Hatton. I've actually been in contact with him a couple of times about maybe sorting some bouts with amateurs, because I know he does the amateur coaching. So I actually remember doing a last minute phone call to Matthew Hatton to try and make a match for one of our boys.
Right.
I'm like, I can't believe I'm about to phone Ricky Hatton's brother.
It's amazing, though, isn't it? They say you should never meet your heroes, but why not? Why not? I mean, especially with him, and it's. I'm pleased he's your he's your man because he's definitely mine. He's my. I think he's my favourite all-time boxer.
Was he?
It genuinely is, and obviously, I grew up watching boxing before Ricky Hatton was even boxing.
Yeah.
But he is my favourite all-time boxer, and not just because I've done his training and everything else, because I love everything about the man. I love everything about him. I loved his style, and that left hook to the body. No idea how happy that made me saying that. Honestly, no idea.
Anybody that knows Ricky Hatton should know the left hook to the body.
But it's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing people that think, I know about boxing, and I say to them, right, what's the best thing about Ricky Hatton? And they go, his ability to lose weight and gain weight. No, that's not sharp.
That's not a good ability.
That's silly.
MD can do that.
It's that left hook to the body. It's just incredible. But anyway, I'm fanboy now. Yeah, what can I say?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
But it's weird because it should have been, for me, obviously, in my age, it should have been Frank Bruno or something that I should be looking up to and saying, because that's who I should have been watching at that. But nah, all-time favourite boxer.
If you got a moment where you went, this is why I love boxing sort of thing, or this is why I started watching boxing, you know?
It's funny because I started watching boxing because I wasn't into boxing until I was a bit older. I was a rugby player. And a girlfriend said to me, we're going to watch the Tyson-Bruno fight. Do you want to come round for it? And I went, aye, why not? And that was it.
Oh, really?
That was it. So that whole distraction of the girlfriend actually got me into boxing.
Right.
Weird.
Good distraction then, that one.
Absolutely. It was. So that was a strange fight and all.
I always like asking people what got them into it, you know, because there's always a moment where you know, this is my sport, I think. So especially with girls, see, because it is a male-dominated sport, I quite like knowing why girls want to do it. And like Naomi, I asked one of the girls in my club, Naomi, why she wanted to do it. She's like, I just went to a boxing show one night and I just wanted to do it. I was like, there you go. Good enough.
It is. And do you know what, bro? And it is amazing how watching boxing can really, really change your life. You know, and you go from, I've never punched anybody in the face in my life to, I really want to get in the ring with somebody. You know?
It's a weird switch, isn't it? It's a weird switch.
Incredible. But like I say, because I was from, I think about 6 years old, I played rugby. Right up, and there'd never been any other sport for me. It was always rugby. That was it. I thought every other sport was for wimps and girls, and you know, and football was for. And I ended up playing football amateur as well. And, I switched. But that night we went to see the fight.
Mike Tyson, good one to watch.
Mike Tyson, Frank Bruno, that's what it was. And I only went because my girlfriend at the time invited me to come and watch it with her family. That was it. You know, would never have done it at any other point because I had no interest in boxing to that point.
That's funny. Funny, isn't it?
So there you go. So girls are not always a distraction. They can be the reason. I'm not still with her, by the way, in case I'm interested. that relationship ended quite quickly after that, actually, to be fair. But there we are. Never mind. Anyway, right. Okay. So your career path is going to take you into the professionals. We are going to see you holding aloft at least a Lonsdale belt for one of your guys soon.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Hopefully. If I can do my job right, then hopefully I'll get one of them there at least.
You will.
Hopefully
you will.
One.
And hopefully it'll be one of the girls as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Get a girl. Are there any Scottish female champions?
We've got Cassidy Todd just now, but I don't know if she's won a title yet. She might have won a title in her last fight. I think it was like a Scottish title as a professional. I know Hannah Rankin, she won a world title.
All right.
She was Scottish. But other than that, I don't know, mate.
Because we want one of your girls to be out there, be forefront of British female boxing.
If they listen to me, I'll get them there.
Absolutely. For you to be able to say, we are the pinnacle of female boxing in Scotland, Johnstone Amateur Boxing Club.
Hopefully,
how good would that
hopefully
be?
just Johnstone Amateur Boxing Club's the pinnacle of boxing, not just females. But hopefully in the next few years, people recognise Johnstone as the best club in Scotland and the place to be.
Do you know what though? I mean, Johnstone's got a fabulous history of boxing, great history of boxing, and for you to be able to continue that on and improve it and move it forward can only be good. Can only be good for the area, can only be good for the kids in the area, and as you say, for some of the adults as well who have stumbled upon it. So illness has made a difference. Yeah, they may never get anywhere, but the fact that they're there for their own mental health reasons or whatever, or just that I'm so stressed at work. What's the best thing for me to do? Or look, I found boxing. Yeah, I know. And sometimes that's just as good. Absolutely, just being able to help somebody deal with their day. Never mind getting them to a title. You're not always going to get that, but just being able to help somebody, like I said, get through their day because they've had a bit of stress with their work or having some family troubles or something like that. So that's why I love the sport. Separation from the real world. Yeah. And sport's great at that. I tell you, I had a nightmare at my work yesterday. A proper nightmare at my work. I was doing paperwork and I did it 4 times, got it wrong 4 times. There's a lot of paperwork. And then I finally got it right and saved it in the wrong way, and it went back to the original, and I'm ready for punching somebody in the face. Anybody. I did a class last night, odd numbers, so I had to take part. And being able to forget that, there was one point, I'm normally quite good, because I realise the people I'm training are there for fitness purposes more than anything. Yeah. We use boxing as our medium. Mm-hmm. So I'm good at holding my punches and not throwing a full punch and everything else. But there was a moment last night where I just forgot. And the boy that was doing the pads for me at the time actually stopped and went, "Is it ever okay if I keep my arm this side of the gym?" I'm like, "I'm so sorry." But it felt so good. It felt so good. And all of that stress from yesterday at work just left in that moment. It was brilliant. It's good. Good at that. And I think that's as you say, that's what boxing's about. It's about being able to go and just go on a bag, on a set of pads, something, and just absolutely leather them and get everything out of your system. I know, because I think that's the biggest misconception about boxing is it's just pure violence and it's just fighting. And like you definitely, because I take some box fit classes as well, and then you'll get people that come in that's maybe never been in and go, "Oh, I was quite nervous about coming in because I thought." I don't know what I thought. I thought it was just going to be people battling each other. Like, no, I says it's not like that at all. For what we've started anyway, back for when I was with Saltaire to obviously before Corners now, it's completely different. Definitely the gyms that I grew up in, that is what it was like. That is definitely what it's like, but it's kind of taking a different route now where it is. It's for everybody. It's not just people who want to box, it's people who want to stay fit. Or get a bit of stress relief. Absolutely. I think boxing as a form of fitness is, it's so far ahead of a lot of them. I don't think people give boxing the credit that it deserves for getting people fit. Yeah. I run 2 classes a week, and the guys and girls that come to my classes are incredibly fit. We went to a gym a couple of years ago. As a bit of a guest gym. They did a circuit class for us, and they were doing their warm up. And I says, "Right, guys, let's do ours." And we were, properly warming up. And they were all stood there going, "It's just a warm up, guys." And I went, "Aye, this is our warm up. Wait till you see us actually working." And they were blown away by how fit and agile and the ability of these people. And I said, "It's boxing." Where is it you take your classes? Where is it? Pollock in St Paul's. Is that what it's called? St Paul's High School. Tell you, I'm terrible with names. St Paul's High School. So a couple of nights a week we go over there and do classes. Cool. And it's at the moment it's free because the parent council are paying for it, so nobody has to come along. And it's all pad work and glove work. So they actually do throw a punch. They don't hit anybody because it's pads. Nobody gets punched in the face unless they don't listen. I'm kidding. Never punched anyone in the face for not listening to me. But it's a good laugh. And we've got such a great range of people from all sorts of backgrounds and a whole host of reasons for being there. Well, and that's for me, that's what boxing is about.
Yeah.
It's there for everybody.
Oh, you do meet some characters, don't you? You meet some great people. Some of the best people I've met, obviously, for boxing as well. So, I mean, getting to meet you today and do this, I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for boxing as well, you know.
I'll take that.
See, there's your compliment for the day.
Yeah, no, but it does. It opens up so many doors.
It does.
So many doors. And I think even for me, for my strongman stuff, doing all that, I was incredibly fit as a strongman at 23 stone. You know, I could outrun anybody in the strongman gym. I could outlast them. Just the stamina side of it. And it was nobody came in close to me.
Yeah,
but it was because of the boxing.
No, just adding that in.
Was it? And people see me running up and down doing my boxing training at 23 stone. We're like, oh, what the hell? It's just one of those things. But I'm good with that. So I'm glad you've come along. Great chatting to you. I'm pretty sure we're going to have to get you back in again at some point. Because loads that we've got to talk about that we haven't spoken about probably. And we were just starting to get into the talking nonsense stuff.
I know. I prefer talking nonsense as well.
So do I. Well, that's it. So we've done the bit about the Johnstone Amateur. We've done a bit about you. Next time we get you in, we're just going to start by talking about other people and nonsense, and we're just going to go for it, right? I have been given the shut up and get on with it signal a couple of times now. So, Sam, thank you very much for coming in. It's been brilliant talking to you and to getting to hear all about your story. And hopefully, Johnstone Amateur Boxing Club does produce a couple of absolute gold medalists and Scottish champions, European champions, and the sky's the limit. Remember, of course, next Sunday, the guys have got the event on where if you want to go along and watch former welterweight European champion Kevin McIntyre, whose name I nearly got wrong again, spar with up to 25 different people. It's got to be worth a watch. I think I might come along for that because I'm hoping somebody slaps him hard.
I'll have my towel ready.
Aye for him. Some 12-year-old boy slapped him. So again, I'm saying that he's not in the room. I'm brave, but he's not here. But no, I might actually. Well, not might. I think I am coming along to it anyway. So looking forward to that as well. So if you're around, take part in it. Give these guys some support. The money that raised on a day is going to help bring in the next level of kids that maybe we couldn't get to do it without these guys. Job they do over there is absolutely brilliant. The setup is fantastic, and it's clear that it's good because obviously the results are coming from it. So, hats off to you guys. You did an absolute brilliant job. Anyhow, so that is that for this week. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Curtis, for listening and putting up with my nonsense. Remember to, if you're watching this on YouTube, ring the little bell. Like us, follow us. We're available on Spotify, and you can keep up with everything we're doing on TikTok and Instagram. And thanks for having me. And as always, keep smiling. Everything is easier with a smile.